Well, a few months ago, the city of Norfolk set out to fix a problem, stop water from the Lafayette River from washing into the Colonial Place neighborhood. Now, they could have just built a wall, but instead they created a haven. And it's this week's postcard from Hampton Roads.
Kind of quietly over the winter, but now that spring has sprung and we're headed into summer, the Haven Creek Pathway in Norfolk's Colonial Place is sure to bring out nature enthusiasts, folks who like to exercise, and folks who really care about the environment. I want to introduce Chuck Joyner. He's with the City of Norfolk, the engineering department, and this project I know was as much about conservation as it was about beautifying a neighborhood that's already really beautiful.
It was. We started with a pathway that was a narrow asphalt pathway that over the years had kind of eroded into the creek and had been overgrown by vegetation towards where the homes are. And so, and it was also, it would flood every time there was a tide that was slightly higher than normal. So we decided to take a look at it and see what we could do to reclaim it for the residents. The traditional way of stabilizing a shoreline is with a bulkhead or a hardened structure like a revetment. And we're starting to shift our thinking into what we call a living shoreline concept, and that is where we install a rock sill to take the shock from the waves that come and cause the erosion, and then the remaining wave energy is kind of sucked up by the cushion of the spartina and the marsh plantings that we place.
I'm glad that we're getting a look at it while it's new, because people will appreciate the painstaking effort in placing all of those new little plants. I mean, when they grow up, you won't be able to see how much work went into this project. But this really isn't kind of a haphazard, you don't throw a handful of seeds out here. I know that there's intention in everything that was done.
That's right. The low marsh vegetation, which is the spartina plants that we see here, are installed on an exact grid. And it takes us probably about a year or so for the plants to come to maturity, and we'll see this whole area bloom.
This raised walkway, beautiful. What's the response been like from people who are out here using it?
I think there's a very enthusiastic response from the community. In doing the raised walkway, we were actually able to move that pathway a few feet further away from people's backyards, and we're able to raise it up about 1.5 feet. It doesn't sound like a whole lot, but instead of flooding every time there's a tide that's slightly higher than normal, now it's only a couple times a year that people have to run through the water a little bit. So I think it's helped a great deal, and I think it's very popular. In doing this, we not only reestablished a high-quality aquatic marsh environment, but we're finding that we can do this for about half the cost of a normal traditional bulkhead.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is, if the conditions are right.
Yeah, it's so much better looking than the traditional bulkhead too. So what a win for the residents of Colonial Place, the city of Norfolk. But of course, if you would like to come enjoy the Haven Creek Pathway, you will find it in Norfolk's Colonial Place. And when you get here, tell them the Hampton Roadshow sent you.
Bird.
Little seagull.
Yeah, we're going. I mean, it's hard to believe it was cheaper to build that beautiful pathway and the rocks and the plants instead of just kind of a concrete, like a seawall or something like that. And it's really, really nice out there.
Really well done.
So right by the Haven Creek boat ramp is where you can find that. And Chuck said, you know, they are looking, as you heard him say, and not just Norfolk, but every city where they have that kind of issue, to look more toward doing something that looks and is more natural than just a barrier.
They succeeded.
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
good.
All right, we'll throw that online in just a little while.
All right. Very